doing another one? Or is that, you
No,
got me there. Well, what was that?
saving it.
What was that? It's saving that.
He's like, let me confuse him. Let me confuse him a bit.
That next song sounded like it was gonna get me hyped up. Should I let it roll?
You'll hear it in the outro. This is the outro. It's not entirely Friday yet. Like it might be Friday on the calendar, but until this is we're finished here and we're all Friday free. It's not Friday. You'll hear it. You'll hear it. Welcome, man. Hangry Barboon. I can't remember your name. Do you want to repeat?
Hangry. I go by Hangry. President Hangry.
Oh, you go by Hangry. All right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
President Hangry.
What happened was
President Hangry.
when I started this project, everyone would read the first word of my profile, so they'd be like, "Hangry, come up here. Hangry, what are you doing?" And then I'm like, "Okay, I'll go by Hangry." That's kind of my artist name, like my, Prince, etc.
I love it. I love it. Perfect. I'll pin the tweet for you guys as well, so we can get some people in here. I have heard rumors that Gangsters Paradise is going to be here. And I also heard some rumors that Hashpack might join us as well.
Nice.
But we're mainly going to question you today, Mr. Hangry President.
Yeah, those
because
are.
I am.
Gangsters Paradise launched recently, I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Cool project. They actually made a 3D gallery for the Hangry Barboons. Very cool team. And of course, Hashpack is an amazing wallet for HBAR. They're always doing updates and adding features, and the UI is great. So if anyone in here doesn't have a Hashpack wallet, I'll show you how to do it. It's very simple. You can DM me. Very happy to help anyone. I love Hashpack wallet. I've used a few different wallets. Obviously, we all have, from MetaMask to Phantom on Solana, and there's a few on Hedera. But I really like the user experience of Hashpack.
It's really good. Like from the wallets I've tried, I've been on a few different chains. Like Hashpack was really a good, just the user experience, right? That's so important.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah, it's like pretty easy to figure out. So big buttons, clear words, organized really pretty. I like the color scheme. Purple's my favorite color. I'm pretty sure they incorporate purple into their design. So yeah.
We got some people joining us as well. Guys, I pinned the tweet in the spaces above. As always, I will kiss every single one in this room that goes up there and lick it. Lick it real good.
You got it.
Lick it right now.
The entire HBAR.
I'll be looking at the entire space, probably.
I love it.
You got it.
Oh,
hey,
Adam,
tell me to lick, I'll lick.
He's saying everyone lick it. Just do it. Lick it good. Oh man.
You know what's strange? Usually in a Twitter space, if I go to the bottom right, there's a word bubble, but I see something else now. That's where I usually go to retweet. I see a circle with a plus sign.
What happens?
Yeah, that's what it normally is sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it's one thing, then it's another one. For me, it happens every. You know what? I think it depends on the host account, the country and stuff.
Well, I feel silly now because I usually tell people, "Hey, go to the bottom right, click the word bubble," and people have a plus sign. Very embarrassing.
Oh, hello everyone.
Yes, thank you, Twitter. Thank you, Twitter.
Thank you for having me up. Heard we were licking stuff.
Yes. Susty, what you do is you go and lick the pin tweet above, so we can get the entire HBAR community in here. Last HBAR spaces we have managed. I think it's the third time we're doing this. We have managed to have the entire HBAR community in one single space. All the projects.
You can call this space Lick Bar Friday.
We'll probably stick to HBAR Friday.
Okay,
we'll see.
Just a suggestion. No big deal.
I like that idea.
You should rename it to Lickety Split.
I see the hashtag.
Or
as
well.
That's what all the listeners are going to do.
Hedera Lickwave, I think, might make some noise.
That's a good one. Hedera Lickwave.
I see the Hashpack is joining us as well. If you want to come up, I would love to have you on stage as well. We're going to question Hangry Barboons really good today. But
you don't have to, quote unquote, he's saying but you don't have to lick anything when you come up on stage. It's not a requirement here. You don't have to lick anything. You can like everything you want, but you don't have to lick anything. Thank you.
Oh, okay. It's like. Sorry, I'm not native English, so I cannot tell the difference. Lick
Oh,
and like, or like is what I meant. Sorry.
I see. I meant lick, but I understand that that's not maybe appropriate.
You're a hangry barboon. You're allowed to say things like that. Adam's a co-host up here. I need a little
Yeah.
bit better out of him, even though it is. I will let it go for quite some time because it is quite
Gotta go
humorous to me.
show some professionalism for the
Yeah.
co-host.
Sorry, guys. So apart from liking stuff, let's get this show going because I cannot wait any longer. Welcome, everyone. This is, from what I understand, the 86th time we're hosting a pod episode, and it's going to be good as ever. As for market news, I haven't really kept up, but I don't think we have any news on the FTX and Binance situation. I think we're just hanging in there. Do you know, TK?
They filed bankruptcy this morning, from what I'm hearing. He actually went through and filed it. I actually just saw something. Let me pull it back up.
Oh, yeah, he also
that
got
they were
arrested,
talking
right?
about. I don't know. Was that true? Like I heard that, but I've been asking around all morning. Has anyone else been able to confirm that? Do we know? Let's see. Here's where I saw that. Let's see. They were talking about the legal terms of it. Let me read this real quick, and I'll jump back into that conversation.
Yes, let's do it. Otherwise, super excited to have you on, Hangry, Mr. President Hangry.
Thank you.
This is when we started this 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, we started our HBAR journey here on the pod, and the first project they actually told me to get into was the Hangry Barboons. So I got to know everything about it. You also have some crazy stats on the marketplace zoos. Almost, from what I checked just before we started, 3K floor price and 12 million volume, which is nuts. So without me boring everyone too much, I would like to just let you introduce Hangry Barboons for anyone that haven't heard about this. All the Solana people that's new to Hangry. Tell me about it.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a great journey, exciting. The project is run by me. I'm Hangry, and I started the project in January of 2022. A little background, I guess, about myself. I'm an artist with over 10 years of digital art experience, and back in real life, I'm a healthcare provider. And when I was in school, I'm a PA in the United States. And when I was in school in 2013, I was on my pediatrics rotation, and I started drawing some cartoons to teach and study medicine with my classmates, and that caught on. And so I have an entrepreneurial spirit, so I did a Kickstarter campaign. It's kind of like a crowdfunding thing. I don't know if that's still popular, but around that time it was popular, and I took time to do a campaign and everything, and I raised like $20,000 to start a publishing company, and I managed to have a successful Kickstarter. So I started drawing all this medical art, and I accumulated enough drawings to publish a book with it. And I started a website, and now it's like a subscription website for students of medicine. And the art is used in a lot of universities around the world, really. A couple years into that, I switched specialties into cardiology, and I studied electrophysiology and EKG interpretation. That's like rhythms of the heart. And I wrote and illustrated an EKG textbook that I illustrated every page. It's something I'm really proud of. And that's also used in a lot of schools and stuff. So I'm explaining all this to show like I have a background in marketing, business, and illustration and higher learning. And throughout that process, I acquired a lot of skills that has helped me, transition into Web3. Because when I found crypto and NFTs, I just felt like it was such a perfect storm of technology and art and community management and things that I just felt like all the puzzles fit together for me. The real I guess challenge was finding the right network to launch on from my perspective, because I discovered crypto at the end of 2021, and by that time, I felt like as I did research that the Ethereum ship had sailed for me. Solana was hard to get into for me because when I was looking to start a project, I wanted to hit it out of the park. And just my gut instinct was that these markets were too saturated for me to have a voice. And as I tried to join Discord and Twitter and things, I did feel like a lot of circles had already been made, and I couldn't figure it out. So as I researched more and more, I experimented collecting NFTs like on Ethereum, Solana, and things, but I eventually learned about Hedera by going down a rabbit hole of YouTube videos and discovering Lehman Baird, who is the inventor of the hash graph, and he has some old but still relevant videos that really convinced me of the technology. Just from a foundational perspective, I was blown away by the technology, everything he explained in this Harvard video that you can easily find. And so I just thought, okay, this is a great place to research and potentially do some art. But when I looked into it more, the NFT scene was very, let's say, underdeveloped. Around the time I joined, the major wallet had kind of collapsed, and people were trying to figure out how to rebuild the NFT scene in Hedera. And so eventually Hashpack came up, which was perfect timing, and they've been iterating on their technology. And eventually, and at that point, we didn't have a secondary marketplace for NFTs. But I had such conviction in the technology that I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and wait, build here, and the technology in my mind will catch up, because that's what everyone thought. Everyone that was involved in this little community felt a lot of conviction that the technology would catch up, and it has now. And it's amazing because everything we thought would happen did happen. We have a great secondary marketplace, great wallet, dexes are coming online. A lot of cool stuff is happening, and projects like mine have popped up and brought a lot of attention to the network too. So we're getting there. The reason I go through all this is because Hedera is not as popular as other, let's say, blockchains. We're a Hashgraph, but we're not as popular as other networks. And so it's important to know that we've come a long way in a short amount of time. I'm talking about January 2022 to now. So it's just a few months, and we've matured so fast. And so what happened was I liked the technology, obviously. I thought I would have a voice here. I established a lot of friendships. A lot of the projects in Hedera communicate with each other every day. We're like best friends in a sense, and we're supporting each other's projects. That being said, anyone that's listening from Hedera, I'm sorry if I haven't been responding to DMs as much, because it's just been so crazy since I launched. I mean, I get DMs all the time, and there's it's overwhelming. The what happens after your launch, but yeah. So we were. What I did was, when I started in January, I was actually looking ahead, and I realized, if this is a small network, we're going to need to get people over here. It can't just be the same HBAR people trading NFTs to each other. We need to grow the pool of people, collectors, and innovators and stuff. So from the very start, I was doing cross-chain Twitter spaces, trying to meet people and talking about my project before I had even really made any progress in my project. I had started just a couple of drawings in January, but I was already talking about my plans to people from Cardano or Solana in smaller spaces. And that was a big part of my, I guess you can say, strategy, because 10 months later, some of those people were still around that I had talked to, and they brought their communities over to Hedera and showed up real big when it came to my mint. And when I ended up minting whitelist and public a couple days later, we broke a ton of records. I mean, volumes that were are unheard of on Hedera. We were in secondary volume 1 million per day for 9 straight days. And like you said, recently we broke, I think, 12 million in total. That's not including, the mint volume. So I think we've surpassed like 14 million HBAR total. And we also saw I have a few collections. I have 3 actually. My Genesis collection is 14 NFTs called Hangry Heads, and one of them sold for 250,000 HBAR, which
Wow.
something similar to what you'd see like a Bored Ape Mutant, type of level. So it's just been amazing. What the project is, in general, is 4,444 supply of these baboons. I call them Hangry Barboons, and it's a play on words. Hangry Barboons. The first letters are HBAR on each word if you put it together. So it's like a tribute to HBAR. And I just felt like my intent with the project was to really capture NFT culture. Like I'm a student of NFTs, really. I mean, I looked around me and I thought, well, what's popular? what really works on different chains. It seemed like every chain had their blue chip quote unquote project, and really it seemed like the aesthetics of a popular project were this 3/4 angle animal looking off to the side, and there's a ton of derivatives, but I felt like some sort of an ape-like creature that had my own art style to it would do the job of getting a lot of eyeballs on Hedera, because I felt like we needed this type of artwork on the network, and I could provide it because I'm an artist. So early on, I actually had HBAR logos on the artwork, like it said Hedera on their shirts or HBAR on their hats and things, but I removed that because I also wanted to turn this into a brand. So I replaced all the HBAR logos and stuff with Hangry. So Hangry is like the brand. I feel like there's a lot you could do with that. And my first, like I said, first collection was 14 Hangry heads. They're like these humanoid heads that I drew, and I airdropped them for free to the first 4 members of my Discord. So it was a gift. And then as a utility whitelist token, I collaborated with a member of our community called named HBAR to the Moon, and we made these nice 3D coins with a Hangry Barboon on them and a banana on the opposite side that functioned as a whitelist token. And I also see it as the project progresses, I can make that a VIP pass or a utility pin, but that's a work in progress. But what that allowed me to do is give 444. There's a 444 supply, but it allowed those people to have 4 mints for the Hangry Barboons. So it was a nice way to allow the people who have been supporting me over the last 10 months to, hey, you get four mints if you want it, guaranteed, and that was really nice. So that happened, and like I said, it just blew up. It's been amazing. I'm continuing to build. The great thing about Hedera is that it's very easy to collaborate with other projects, and there's a lot of developers that are willing to help you. So I launched on Turtle Moon Launchpad. They're a great development team. There's another development team called HBAR Space, and then there's devs from projects that are willing to help out. So there's a lot of potential in the future to build on a good foundation in Hedera. That's been my experience. You know, in terms of my artistic background, I'm inspired by like cartoons I watched growing up, was particularly Ren and Stimpy. There's a webcomic I used to like a lot called Penny Arcade, video game webcomic, and the artist, his name is Mike Krahulik. He's like basically the main person that inspired me to become a digital artist. Back in like 2009, I came across him and I bought a digital tablet that he had and the same software, and I started practicing. So I've been really inspired by that artist in particular. And so the main idea, you know, is that Hedera is a great place for artists to succeed. It's not like a place where you have to have like venture capital funding or, you know, a huge team to get off the ground. The network is cheap. There's almost zero. The gas fees are non-existent almost. It's like fractions of a penny. So you can mint a huge 10K collection for a few bucks. It's fast and it's secure, and so it's a perfect environment for launching a successful NFT project. And then there's a lot of technology around the ecosystem you can leverage. So I had the foresight to see all that. Luckily, it all came to be, and there's a lot to look forward in the future.
Cool. I'm always curious, like especially on HBAR and smart chains. Like, what made you get into picking HBAR over other chains? But before we get into that, and you obviously took a early bet on HBAR, and you definitely, as you said, got a voice. I just want to welcome everyone joining us. Welcome, guys, to our HBAR Friday. And Stallion, I saw that you joined us as well. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great. Loving the space.
Amazing. Sold out. Sorry, TK, go ahead.
Adam, he was talking about those hangry heads. I just did the math. How much you think one of those bad boys are? Give me a guess, and let's say US dollar, because I just did the conversion. Anybody want to take a guess?
Listed floor price.
Well, I don't know if it counts for you, Stallion. I don't know. I don't know if I can take you. I don't know if I can take your guess. You probably spot on.
I will say about the hangry heads that there's 14. I think only 4 have sold. Everyone else is holding for now. And it's been sort of this escalation where I think the first one sold for like 50,000 each bar. The next one was around 77,000, and then the third one was like a trade of HBAR and NFTs, and then the third one was, or the final last one was a kind of, a little much higher. So it's been sort of escalating. That GIF of
37.5 at the moment. $37,500 is the lowest anybody wants of your original collection. Just so if anyone didn't have, if they were curious, if like the people's faith in you, it's $37,500 USD is the cheapest entry into your first edition. Like that's yeah, so it's up there, right? That's good. That's real good.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's
right.
okay.
Yeah. And let's see.
One thing about
go ahead. It's like 27.
One thing about for artists, it's really cool to get into NFTs because obviously right clicking and saving doesn't count. So I thought it was cool to get into an emerging technology where you can prove that you own digital artwork, which I know that's obvious to all of us in here, but I'm pretty new to crypto in general. I mean, like I said, I've been into it like a year. So coming from like an Instagram world where people were stealing artwork and reposting it, that like my medical stuff, it kind of blew my mind that people cared about the actual original source of the artwork. And I continue to find that fascinating. Like people, it's funny that people are so sensitive against rugs and fake people and stealing artwork, which I like that a lot. That's one of the things I like a lot about NFTs is that the community kind of rallies around authenticity. That's something I really like.
So what was it exactly you did before NFTs, and what got you here? Like, how and why are you here?
Well, and like I said, like in real life, I'm a healthcare provider, but I've always had a I guess you could, I don't know, ambition towards art. I've always wanted to develop myself artistically. I'm a self-taught artist, and I just felt like NFTs were a great place to take that risk. I mean, I didn't put all my eggs in one basket. I mean, I continued to work throughout working on this NFT project. It's not like I said, I'm going to quit my job and go into crypto. I continued to work and tried to be responsible, but I learned about crypto and NFTs when Mark Zuckerberg changed the name of Facebook to Meta. That was like the thing that caught me on the news, and I was like, "What's going on here? Why would you change your name to that?" And then I read a news article about this kid. I think he made an NFT project on ETH called Weird Whales or something, and they were like these simple little whales, and he became a millionaire from it. And I'm like, "What's going on here? Why are people
Weird
buying these little
whales.
pictures
I haven't heard that in forever. Wow.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
So yeah, I remember
those are cool.
Weird Whales. Are you still in healthcare, or are you full time in Hangry at the moment?
I'm still healthcare. What happened was when let me think. Not too long ago, because of COVID and everything, I started doing more telemedicine. So I left. I'm not in the hospital anymore. I used to work in the hospital in cardiology. So I was running around, mainly with treating patients with heart rhythm issues. If you need a pacemaker and things. But with the pandemic, a lot of things had to change, and then I transitioned to more of a telemedicine type primary care. So I continue to do that, but I work like around my schedule to do this NFT stuff. And so what brought me to Hedera was I saw like that Weird Whales thing. Then I learned about Bored Apes and crypto punks and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so there's like this new, in my mind, I'm like, this is a new genre of art, like generative art, where you produce thousands of images and layers. That's like a new genre to me, like a genre of music. So I wanted to learn it, and so I researched the program you use, and that's called Hashlips, is the main one that I'm aware of. And I tried to learn JavaScript because at the time I learned about it, it did involve a little coding, and so I took like a little JavaScript boot camp, which is unnecessary, but that's just sort of the type of person I am. I wanted to understand well what I was getting into, and then
so you don't do the coding and everything for the Hangry Barboons.
Well, the cool thing is there's this developer. His name's Daniel, I believe, and he goes by Hashlips, and he open sourced the code to do generative art. And so a lot of projects owe their success to this guy. And so that's an open source. It basically, you have to create the art and everything and all the layers and understand how to piece them together. But the program, what it does is take all the layers and mixes and matches them by varying weights and spits out however many images you want randomly. You can specify like certain weights to, like, if you want, for example, a certain mouth trait to appear more often than others, you can specify that in the code, and then it would come. So I remember back in January, I just wanted to know, is this possible? Am I able to do this? And I drew like a few traits for the Hangry Barboons, like maybe 5 variations of the mouth and eyes, and then I put it in clips and it worked. I got like 2 random Hangry Barboons. Worked, and that it's possible. And I remember running over to my parents' house and showing them, like, I was able to make generative art. They're like, what are you talking about? What are these monkeys? So that was it. Like, it was, if I knew if I could make 20, I could make 10,000, you know. So that was the sort of the part where I was like, okay, I'll commit to this. And why Hedera was mainly, like I said, I didn't feel like I would be heard on Solana or Ethereum. In retrospect, maybe I would have, because I think I'm a good artist, but maybe not. You know, now what could is if I say, okay, now I'm gonna go make a project on Solana, I'd probably get attention, but I don't want to do that because I believe in Hedera, and I'll continue working on Hedera.
So you don't have intentions of going cross chain?
No, I mean, the only thing I would say is that I think in the future there will be interoperability between chains, and so it may be a situation where we have a thing called Hashport, and maybe an NFT through the Hashport service is transferred over onto another network or something. But I don't plan on, say, minting NFTs directly onto another network for the foreseeable future. I mean, this project is very time consuming, and so I have to focus on it, you know.
Adam, you had a question?
Oh, sorry. I was just praying. No, I'm joking. I wasn't praying. I'm curious about. I'm really curious about, because like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, we had the biggest sell-off especially in Solana, but in crypto in like a long time. It was horrible. But how did this affect HBAR, and especially like HBAR NFTs? Because we even saw on Solana like people just dumping their NFTs to get out of this. And what do you think, like, if we come out of this bear market sometime, where will HBAR be at that point?
You didn't buy any other coins on that big dip when Solana caused that waterfall, Adam? Because I was told the day before by someone that may or may not be on stage, good luck getting HBAR under 5 cents before the mint. And then good old Solana said, hold my beer. You'll be able to buy anything for 40% cheaper. So, yeah, I may or may not have scooped some HBAR when Solana decided to take everybody on a wild ride.
They may not be here, he said. They may or may not.
I bought into when I joined Hedera, I bought in at HBAR around 35 cents, and I was accumulating. People were like, "Hey, dollar cost average." I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm just gonna buy in chunks. and honestly, I don't care that the price has dipped to where it was. I think the high was around 50 cents. That was probably before my time.
Well, if you want to feel any better, you can ask Adam his Solana entry.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't talk about that.
I think if you have conviction in the network you're building on, then none of this really matters, and this is just a temporary dip, you know. And honestly, like I said, I still have my career. This isn't something where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna quit my job and put all my life savings into trying to get rich off of HBAR or anything. I just felt like this was a great opportunity to develop as an artist and an emerging technology that was fascinating to me, and building a community around it. I don't expect HBAR to be 4 cents forever or whatever, and honestly, it's not that I mean, it's important. I guess we're all here to make money in a sense, but it hasn't phased me, and and the people who love HBAR, I don't think it's phased them either.
I would
So
agree. HBAR people are kind of tough. I don't know if
yeah,
that's
that's what
because
I mean.
every other quote unquote, well, because you guys aren't a blockchain, so I don't know if that's why all the other blockchains give you guys such a hard time. But the HBAR community, I mean, it's tough. It's tough in my eyes. But welcome, Hashpack. How are you? Saw your
Very
hand up.
good. Oh yeah, very good. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Hello, Hangry. Hi, Stallion. Hi, Adam. Yeah, Stallion and Adam. We were speaking a little bit yesterday, but I mean, I think that with, if anything, I mean, Hangry, you'll probably agree with me. Over the past, what is it, like 72 hours, people on Hedera in general are just kind of, you know, like we're just here for the tech, and like I feel like everyone here has a very long term view on the ecosystem. So to be honest, like I'm just like I feel like for the most part, what I'm hearing is just I'm seeing this as an opportunity, and a lot of people are talking about this as an opportunity. I mean, there's obviously things that FTX was not doing right, but I mean, if you're looking at a 10 years perspective and you kind of just forget, then this is just a bleep, right? I mean, it's really just relative.
I don't feel any of that panic sell pressure or anything. It's just like I'm just watching, and the price goes down, and I'm just idly watching. Like, oh, it's down today.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
down today, up tomorrow maybe. Who
Yeah,
cares?
I mean, there's this running joke that before all this, I mean, HBAR was practically a stable coin at 6 cents, so like 5 cents. So like, it's. I feel like most people don't even really care that much. I mean, if you're looking at a 10-year perspective, then potentially, but I mean, we just saw Gangsters Paradise sell out in the midst of everything, and that's absolutely incredible. So like, the people that are here, yes, of course, some of them might have gotten hurt by the fall of FTX, which is very unfortunate. But at the same time, I mean, people are just focused, and I mean, probably there's a lot of people taking this as an opportunity to buy some NFT, to pick up some NFTs for the low.
Oh, I would 100% like that. And I don't know if that was really, really good that happened because everyone was able to buy stuff cheaper for Gangsters Paradise to sell out. But either way, that is impressive. I mean, in this market, I mean, you hear what, a couple things sell out in a day, most taken a week. And I mean, and that's in blockchains across the board, to see some good come out of, a big dip. And that's another thing I don't hear a lot of complaining about the price from anyone I talk to in Hedera because I talk to people in all blockchains. So I mean, I don't know if that's because
Usually
it is
people are
five,
like
6 cents.
excited.
Yeah,
They're
like
like,
they,
oh,
they
great
normally are
opportunity here.
excited, but will the community when it's $7, $12, $30, $100 still be that into the technology and not the price at that time? Because then it'll be more people.
Well, I'd say that for that, I mean, it's hard to speculate on that front, but to get it to that type of price, like you'd have to see, tens of millions of people join the network, and then really what we're trying to do here is instill this like almost like called like community culture that we have built, so people just kind of see it like as as Henry was saying, or as I was saying earlier, the deck's incredible. I mean, and really, I mean, with all of this happening, like there's like perfect on timing, really. And I don't know who was saying this, but like it's actually kind of funny because as FTX was dropping like crazy, uh, a use case came online testing on mainnet, and we were seeing around 5,000 transactions per second. And I think we processed around 48 million transactions in less than 48 hours. I don't know, less than 24 hours. Sorry. So also like this week, I mean, Apex Legends will be using Hedera, the Hedera consensus service on their game. And I just feel like, I mean, the good thing about Hedera is that since we also have that enterprise focus, right? We said like on top of all the community, like if any like governing council members starts doing stuff, a lot of people in Hedera call it a step function, then it's really like, I mean, people will just stay here. It's like, it's like buying Apple in the 90s. It's like, Apple has been great since pretty much like, the Apple II. And there's people that has never sold. So, I mean, as to your question, I think that as it grows, it's probably going to be harder to keep up the community rowing all the same on the same direction. But that's what we will try to do as projects in the network. And Hangry, you'll probably agree with me on that.
Hope it
Yeah, I
stays
think
that way.
the community has like this joint goal of onboarding people, and so that's essentially a mission of every project, is to do their best to educate others, like doing these types of spaces and getting people over here and open their eyes to the beauty of Hedera. Sometimes I wonder, like, why is it that I came here kind of as a regular kind of worker bee? You know, I was just in the healthcare system, and then I kind of stumbled around and found Hedera. But it doesn't seem like a lot of other people have that journey, so to speak. They either ignore crypto or they're ending up on other networks, so to speak. Like even like the recent Solana migration to Aptos, and I'm wondering why more people aren't giving Hedera a chance.
I was
I
just
think,
thinking that, like going
yeah,
off what you guys were saying, because it's because I haven't looked that much into it. Because Hedera is not a blockchain, correct? But you guys are held to the same
Basically,
standards
it's
as every other coin that is a blockchain, right?
yeah, Hedera has a different way of coming to consensus, but in effect, it's doing the same thing from a user's experience that a blockchain is doing.
But it's not a technical blockchain, is it? The way like the actual layering,
It's
or
like
like the layer zero works, or whatever
it's
you
like
call
a
it.
it's like a, for lack of a better word, it's like a graph of blockchains that can communicate and can achieve, say, consensus faster and safer than say Solana, which is a leader-based blockchain system.
Exactly, and on top of that, I mean, since we are leaderless, we like Hedera has the highest like version of security theoretically possible, which is the ABFT. I'm sure many of you guys have heard of it, and basically, that stands for asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance system, and how you can scale and all of that using the gossip protocol. It just basically makes it extremely fast. And you also have to consider that right now Hedera is blocked at 10 transactions per second, but if sharding is implemented, then I mean, I don't know I don't even want to speculate, but I'm thinking about hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. But yeah, I mean, it's technically it's not a blockchain, but it's a DLT, and all blockchains are DLT, so it's like it just falls within the same kind of bucket.
Mitchell, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. How are you? I saw your hand was up. Sorry, we go in tangents here and jump all over the place because it's nice learning it, and I've seen you around. How are you?
No, it's all good, man. Thank you for having me up. I mean, most of what I was going to say was already said by the panel here, so they took sort of my fire. But what I wanted to add about the blockchain is you can't have another transaction until that blockchain is finished. And that's the problem with blockchain versus the hash graph. You could have multiple transactions occurring at the same time, all being filled and being on consensus, versus a blockchain. You can't create the next blockchain until that blockchain is finished with that transaction. And that's why it's much slower than a hash graph. Now, technically speaking, a hash graph is a DAG. And what a DAG basically is a layer zero. I'm not sure if you guys understand what a layer zero is, but basically you can run all the layer ones on top of a layer zero. Now, we classify ourselves just for the general public as a layer one, but technically speaking, the hash graph is a layer zero. Regarding the current, let's say, environment that we have in crypto, and I know you guys already heard it, but while the market was basically crashing, and yes, Hedera's price was pushed down because of the influence of the environment of the current crypto section or industry. We were still processing as a hash more within a span of 9 hours, more transaction than what Bitcoin and Hedera, to include Polygon, does in a month. So if you take that into consideration, what they were able to process in 9 hours, which is the equivalent of 3 chains, that just gives you an idea how quickly and efficient the hash graph is. Now, as we know, blockchain is a 15 to 16-year-old technology. I don't know about any of you, but I'm no longer using a beeper or a Motorola. So with that being said, that's basically what blockchain is. It's just an old technology, very good technology, but it's an old technology and very slow. Most of us either have a Galaxy or an iPhone, and that's what is currently a hash graph. basically is much quicker, much faster to finality. Most transactions, if you ever use your Hashpack, within seconds you have your NFT. Within seconds your transaction occurs. No refreshing is needed, which makes the hash graph simpler and quicker to use. Regarding the current NFT, I mean, we have one project that adjusted its pricing, which, I mean, they're here, which is the Gangsters Paradise. They have one mint price. They had to adjust the mint price much higher. The community accepted it, knowing that the HBAR price dropped, and they still sold out. We have one project that's basically minting today, and they're about to sell out the moment they go public. And we have a third project that's going out that looks like it's also minting out. So we have three projects minting out within a time frame of 48 hours. So that just tells you the current environment and support that you have from the community. With that being said, guys, I'll step down. I just wanted to help out, a little bit, but most of the guys covered
No, you
what I
can't.
was
You
gonna
can't
say.
step down. You can't step down after that grenade. You gotta stay
Okay,
up here for a minute because there's gonna be some
okay. I
questions.
mean,
There's
oh,
gonna be
beautiful.
questions coming from that. He said
No,
all the other
beautiful.
blockchains are the old pair of shoes,
Well,
and
it's not
we
that.
should jump
It's
into these new H graphs and kick the old Nikes to the side. Is what I was hearing. That
well, I mean,
You might be right about that.
Nikes are, well, you could put them on. You're still gonna run, right? They're still gonna get you to the finish line, but you might have a little bit of scar tissue. You may have a little bit of bruising, ankle, maybe a little chin splint. It'll get you to the finish line. But if you put on those good Brooks, if you're a runner, you know what Brooks are. You're gonna run with Brooks. You're not gonna run with Nike. So blockchain is Nike. They look pretty. They're efficient. They'll get you to the finish line, but they're not Brooks. If you're a long, if you're a cross country runner, you're gonna use some Brooks. They're fitted for the foot. They support the ankle. You know what I mean? They give you the correct foot support so that when you make it to the finish line, your feet are not all beat up. It's just basically, guys. I mean, we got to come to a conclusion, right? Blockchain is good, but you can't create one block without the other block being finished. You can't. And if you do, you end up forking the system. You don't want to fork the system because then what? You have two live chains running next to each other, which becomes a security issue. So that's why blockchain will forever, I don't want to say forever because you can always use the layer two, but still with a layer two, you can't continue one block without that block finishing. Where imagine having multiple blocks, multiple commands, and multiple transactions all occurring within the same time. That's what a hash graph gives you. It's basically you could throw as many transactions at the same time, and they're all going to get basically to a final without one transaction depending on the other.
So what's the downfall then? Why is it 4 cents?
Why is it 4 cents? Well, it's a matter of marketing. If you look at
Because
hash graph,
I also I have yeah. I mean, why is it 4 cents? Because we don't see, a lot of the other chains have seen a lot of institutional investment, right? I mean, all the VCs have. I mean,
Why aren't VCs in their
because
new H graph shoes, and why are they still running
okay,
around doing Nikes?
I'm a former VC, and I protected Hedera, to the max. But why? Because up until 9 months ago, we didn't have a DeFi. We don't didn't have DeFi. You were doing like basically peer-to-peer transfers for NFTs. But in just the past 9 months, we have four marketplaces, four or three. Yeah. We have like I think it's like six DeFi like swaps. We have a staking provider with Stater, and it's honestly just because like what VCs are looking for is that user base. And right now, like for Hedera, like we're just waiting to have that base layer very well done. Like if you look into it, like Hedera hasn't even done any marketing. Like just this 2022, Hedera started going to all the different, and I'm talking to Hedera about like in terms of the network themselves. But in 2022, it was the first year that they started to go to consensus, to all these different conventions, or whatever you want to call it, and they waited this long because they were waiting on having the base extremely solid. So to your question, it's like it makes sense that VCs were going to Ethereum or Solana because there was millions of users. Within Hedera, there's still like it's still in its nascency, right? I mean, Hedera came out in 2018. Like it's taken a very long time, but now we have all this applications built on top of it that will allow to bring all these new people in. I mean, Hangry was talking just before, what was it, in January, December, there was that fallout with the wallet, and I mean that kind of just shook the entire system, right? I mean, Patches, I think you were in here earlier. I mean, you were talking about yesterday about Turtle Moon coming out because it was just simply a need for the community. And, the community are basically building all these tools, and it takes a while. So, I mean, we heard about Hangry just hopping into Hedera in December or January. I mean, I've been around Hedera since 2019, and I mean, in 2019, like if we're in its nascency now, like we were just like, I mean, we didn't, it was extremely rare to find people that knew about Hedera. So, I guess I hope that kind of answers the question. But if anyone else has
Yeah.
anything to add.
Yeah, I see that question. I want to welcome Brandon, Tony. Let's go, Brandon, Stallion, then Tony. How are you guys?
Hey, doing good. First time up speaking on these spaces. Really appreciate you hosting these HBAR spaces. This is great. I wanted to speak to a couple of things. So, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know me, I've been in the Hedera ecosystem and an HBAR investor in the NFT ecosystem for a couple of years now. I do a weekly news show on Sundays. But a couple of things I just wanted to jump off of the topics that we're talking about and kind of why HBAR is where it's at is, I mean, off the top as well, really most altcoins, we'll call them, generally follow the market anyways. Most of them don't have the steam to make a move on their own. That's just kind of the way it is as well. But I think, speaking more broadly too, I think the disconnect that Hedera has, because there are pros and cons to every approach, right? One of the cons is Hedera's approach, they've made very clear, and the inventor of the hash graph algorithm, the co-founders, they've said, we're trying to develop a 100-year organization. Hedera governed by a governing council. You've heard the spiel, all those kinds of things. So you have an entity with a 100-year mindset in a market that thinks in 15-minute increments. And that's a bit of a disconnect. And I think that that's a reason why in the short term, Hedera's kind of been, it's felt like it's been a little bit outside of everything. So there's downsides to that for sure. And I think that's what we're speaking to. But the upside to that is something that we saw recently, obviously, with the whole FTX thing and the crypto markets, and we've seen in the past before. And that 100-year mentality approach led Hedera to make certain decisions early on and even presently that, again, go against the grain of what people expect. One of those decisions was highlighted today by one of the co-founders, Mance Harmon, previously the CEO of Hedera. Now there is no CEO of Hedera. But what he stated is when they were initially doing their raise, not for an ICO, but for a SAF, Hedera didn't do an ICO. They obviously accepted payments in Ethereum and Bitcoin and immediately converted those to cash. They got a lot of flack for that. And that definitely went against the grain of what people expect from a crypto project. But with the state that everything's in right now, with Hedera controlling the treasury, all the HBARs, and very little HBAR on exchanges, that kind of long-term thinking, you can now see the upside of those things. With so many enterprises developing on Hedera, enterprises aren't generally affected by the crypto market. So you're seeing these incredible waves. As Hashpack was saying, just with development, TPS, all these kinds of things coming online. And just another note that's also tangible, kind of jumping off of that more into the NFT ecosystem, talking to what Mitchell was talking about in regards to layer 1 versus layer 0, those types of things. Another thing to do with this kind of long-term thinking versus short-term thinking is on Hedera, we have fixed fees, right? So network fees don't fluctuate. It's really easy for enterprises to project what something is going to cost, which is really important to them. Just like they go, AWS is going to cost us this much for the year. The Hedera network is going to cost us this much for the year. They can't really do that with other networks easily. And on NFTs, royalties are obviously really important. That's definitely a hot button issue across the ecosystem with marketplaces, kind of changing the rules. On Hedera, most NFTs don't use smart contracts. They can, but they don't because they're minted to the layer 1, right? HBAR itself, all the other kind of tokens in the Hedera ecosystem and the NFTs are minted to the same layer, which also means that the royalties on those NFTs are controlled by the network, not the marketplace, not a smart contract.
So is everyone minting the contract like you can do in ETH on Hedera?
So when you
kind of the same thing?
Yeah, so when you mint an NFT on Hedera, for example, my NFT project, when I mint an NFT on Hedera, I'm not minting it through a smart contract. I'm not minting it in a way that you might be familiar with on another network. I would use something like some JavaScript interfacing with the Hedera SDK, and I would mint it right to the layer 1 So all of the benefits that HBAR has, my NFTs would have as well. Same kind of low fees. So for example, to mint a 10,000 NFT collection, it costs about $78. And that's never going to change because the network fees are denominated in US dollar. And, asterisk to that, if something were to happen to the US dollar, the governing council can make determinations and peg network fees to a different currency. So you have that consistency kind of right at the layer one. So that's, I think, why sometimes people refer to Hedera as kind of almost like a layer zero. But yeah, those are kind of like just some other things I wanted to mention, just jumping off the conversation. Happy to answer any other questions. Super awesome to be here. This is awesome spaces. Shout out to Hangry, Stallion, all the usual suspects. Great people.
Oh yeah, feel free, hang in. We've been Adam and I in the pod. Adam's more Solana. He's that Solana maxi. I like to go everywhere. I like to play in all sorts of areas, and HBAR's been getting thrown at us for quite some time now. And with Solana, once again, hold my beer. We don't know what's going to go on with Solana.
Hey, I'm trying. I'm trying, dude. I'm really trying.
I know you are. But the HBAR community, I mean, it's at least on Twitter, you guys roll deep and hard, and it's positive. I mean, it's good to see. I mean, poor 6 cents. I mean, there's people having a good time here. So
just again speaking to that price, and I think one of the reasons why the HBAR community is so maybe you'd say enthusiastic, right, is obviously we've been on a wave of price action, but again, if you were to overlay the HBAR charts over top of any other altcoin chart, it effectively would look the same.
It's probably the same. They all
right?
move together. They go up together. They go down together. One crashes, they all crash. That's why I told
exactly.
Adam,
but
you didn't buy any HBAR, knowing the Gangsters Paradise mint was the next day after. I was like, ooh, I hit up Stallion. I was like, how much is it for one of these? Since now I can buy it below 5 cents. He may not have been the guy who told me that. Yeah.
But just another point to that is something that doesn't look the same is if you were to overlay kind of the chart of innovation, as Hashpack was saying, is over the last year, we've seen HBAR effectively go from 0 to 60 in regards to value on the network. Multiple dexes going from 0 to 100, tens of millions of US dollars of total value locked. Massive activity, massive TPS, many use cases from community, NFT, marketplace to massive enterprise. And so when you look at those two things, there's a sharp contrast to that where you go, wow, so the price is being dragged down by the market, but the value of the network continues to go up at an exponential rate. So I think
that I've seen a lot of builders, you guys have over and over, and it's hard. It's weird to think that HBAR has only been around 4 years now.
Yeah. So
wild.
That's the thing. That's what I think why people are so excited. But also there's this ethos in Hedera because we're kind of a patchwork from some Solana folks, some people from other networks, from XRP, but also we learn so much from the other networks. One of our key marketplaces is modeled after a Solana marketplace. So we learn a lot. So it's that excitement also paired with the ethos of no network has to fail for Hedera to succeed. There are also many things that Hedera can do to plug into Solana to fix certain issues that Solana has. And there's other things that we can learn from those networks and bring to Hedera. So we're kind of, it's one of those situations where we're stronger together. We're just excited to talk about these things.
Preach that from the rooftops to all fucking blockchains. Preach that they can all work together. They can all survive. Cardano, even though don't at me on that one. I said it. I said what I said. We're gonna move right past that. Stallion, how are you, my man?
Oh, never better, my friend, never better. So in the midst of all this, Gangsters Paradise decided to go ahead with our mint yesterday. So while the market was crashing, we sold out in under 55 minutes, which was absolutely wild. The volume on the secondaries has been unreal. We're approaching a 2x the mint price on the secondaries today. I don't think this could not have happened in any other community in this environment. So the Hedera community came through in a big way.
It's not happening
Hangry came through in a big way as well. The HBAR or the Hangry Barboons, that whole community, the Dead Pixels community, the Creamies community, so many of these communities came through with us for us on mint day, and we are incredibly appreciative. And we now view as our core ethos doing everything we can to continue to onboard new users to Hedera and to continue to grow the network and the user base. So just a huge thank you to everybody that showed up for Gangsters Paradise.
Oh, and congratulations to you guys. I don't know if that's been said here yet, but congratulations. Like, you minted out in less than an hour in a shit time, and in the middle, hopefully close to the end, but we'll go ahead and say middle of the bear market. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it's almost over. But yeah, congratulations to you and the team. You guys definitely deserve it. Like, that is no easy feat on any blockchain to mint out with what's going on right now across the board. Congratulations, you guys.
Well, thank you, man. The relief of knowing that we can move forward without any issues, and build out what will be an entire ecosystem ultimately on the Hedera network. And it could not be more exciting. The mood of our team chat has been just elated since the mint. Everybody was nervous because this was a make or break moment for us, and it looks like the future is bright at Gangsters Paradise. And all of you are welcome to the family.
I love it. I love it. Tony, how are you? Are you with me, Tony? I know it was kind of a long delay. How are you, my man?
I'm all right. I was down there. I was down there. Listen, I got triggered. So I came up. I had some statements. Look, I want to start saying, I'm not a blockchain. I don't have any favorite chain to operate. I don't have any favoritism. I'll pack my little bags and move to any chain. But I do have chains that I prefer. I do have chains that I'm quite confident on and whatnot. Just a reference. Obviously, there's a huge audience here. Just a reference. Like I think you asked why was 6 cents the top for Hedera, and what's really for me, like when I look at it and I want to get in, the one thing I keep asking is this is a Hedera space, so I'm not trying to start a fight with her, but I'm gonna ask like why is Hedera not release the code? And that's I understand why you don't want to compare yourself to blockchains, because on a blockchain the ethos is code is
Hedera
code
is
is
open
king.
source, by the way, just to
But
clarify that.
no, it's open source, but the code itself is not public, so you can't see the code. You can't maybe build on top of it or maybe fork it like soft forks.
I don't know if that's the case. Like, for example, Phantom is a fork of the Hedera network, but I think Brandon might be able to speak more intelligently to this.
Yeah, the code base is you can view it on GitHub, and one of the purposes of Hedera is as permissioned nodes and permissionless nodes are added to the network. One of the unique things about Hashgraph, and one of the things you're going to be able to utilize is right now we have the mainnet, right? We have the Hashgraph that everyone knows, but in the future, what you're going to be able to do is, let's say, for example, a group of banks or a group of DEXs or a group of NFT projects want to start their own hash graph. They can take that code, start their own hash graph that can send state proofs to the mainnet, and they can create their own rules, their own governance, their own tokens, their own fees for that special hash graph. So it'll kind of be what's called the shared worlds concept. And this was kind of all part of the vision for Hedera. So because of that, and just kind of what's available online, you can definitely go and get the code for the hash graph and spin up your own hash graph, which has been done, aka Phantom, and it's open source, so you can definitely do those things.
Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, no, guys, I see what you guys said. The hash graph. Okay, I'll find a way to because yeah, you can get the code for the hash graph, like the front that everybody's building on, and Phantom is a spin-off of that. The base layer behind that is what I was talking about more. The base layer that allows you to be able to do that springboard that you just described there. But we'll leave that. 6 cents again. The question is, when Hedera went to around 46 cents, above 30 cents, the supply was incredibly low. When you look at a $50 billion token supply fully diluted, that's a hefty amount. I'm not sure when that's being released. Again, like when I'm looking at it, doing my little research, I'm like, oh, would I jump into this token? Am I gonna get a 2 or 3x out of this? Because at the end of the day, I'm a trader. I don't. I appreciate whatever's gonna appreciate the most. So when I look at that, I'm like, right, there's 25 billion Hedera in supply, 50 billion still 25 billion is outstanding, which gives it a total of 50 bills. That's a lot of price movement. At a dollar, that would be almost 10x the value of Solana if Hedera was to go to a dollar on fully diluted market cap. So I think the 6 cents is low. I think definitely you could see maybe 12 cents, maybe 14 cents. But when we start talking above a dollar for Hedera, I would need to see something super aggressive for those prices.
I think if we see the US CBDC or other major CBDCs come online, the sky's the limit. I could see Hedera with 100 billion market cap under the right conditions. We might actually see a bunch of projects at 100 billion market cap, because $100 billion in, let's say, 5 years isn't going to be worth $100 billion today, especially at this rate of inflation. So I could definitely see Hedera going to $1 or $2 or more in the right climate, in the right, say, bull. And not financial advice, it is definitely pretty cheap right now. Not saying there's not another leg down for crypto, but as somebody that likes the dollar cost average towards the bottom, I personally would be making purchases at this level.
No, definitely. But let's cap it at a trillion dollar market cap. Let's cap it at that. In that ecosystem, the whole cryptocurrency is $1 trillion. I definitely believe we'll go to 5, 6, 7 trillion as well, and I think everybody will get to those levels. Obviously, like we're in a very small ecosystem. I think there's 300 million users of crypto. Guys, that's nothing. Another 300 million and we'll all 2x immediately the market cap. So we are super. I mean, within the trillion. Brandon, did that?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I
What's
was
up,
just
Brandon? You had your hand up.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say something that you might find helpful, Tony, is on the Hedera website, just as part of your research. Hedera does publish the release schedule for HBARs out of the Treasury, also summarizing their SAFs distributions. And also you can see the minutes from all the governing council meetings, so all the different committees and elements of the network governance of conversations they're having, opinions, initiatives underway. And then also the HIP proposals, so you can see different proposed elements of the network to be added. So it's pretty transparent into what to expect, and a lot of that's priced in. And then again, I'll just reiterate in regards to price, overlay the chart of any other altcoin, and it's pretty much the same. It's kind of just the standard market action. I think the continual value added to the Hedera network will get it in a position to make a move on its own, which we have seen in the past. So I expect that.
No, everything will move. Hedera will move. But I'm saying, like, look, if you compare that to Ethereum, like Salim said, if you compare that to Ethereum, which has now just turned deflationary again, and then when the bull market comes up, it will become a little bit more deflationary. In 10 years, there'll be less Ethereum than there is now, and the price will grow. So will the total market cap of crypto. So when you're looking at it like that, I think Phantom is also looking into becoming deflationary as well. These tokens will reduce in supply, and the demand will increase as more people enter crypto. But whereas some of these tokens are still distributing, you see the Hedera distribution. Is it leaked? Is it leaked on a daily basis, like a drip feed of the staked Hedera, or is it dropped in lump sums? I've seen that from chains. That's my least favorite one. Well, it's great if you're trading it. If you get in the day, it's dropped. But yeah, which one is it, Brandon? Is it drip fed into the ecosystem, or is it dropped in chunks?
There's a release schedule. I don't believe it's as you say drip fed, but I also don't believe it's dropped, because it is anticipated, so you can see what's going to be coming up. But again, I mean, that's one of the things about Hedera, right? Is as it's been highlighted in the spaces, is they do things very differently than what's conventional to what we've seen in the crypto space. So it's really, again, if it doesn't align with your investment goals, then it's not every crypto is for everybody.
So what would it take for HBAR to explode? Or is there anything that could happen on the network, or anything you guys just either working on?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Brandon.
I was just going to say, we've seen it. I'll give you two examples. So one example is something that we saw where a use case that is coming online, which I believe is a use case from Avery Dennison, one of the largest supply chain management platforms out there that most of the major brands use. And they have a platform called Atma.io. It basically allows in real time for carbon offset credits to be applied to either parts of or complete products on the supply chain. And the TPS that drives is something that we've seen in testing last week, which was about 300 to 700 TPS, which are real transactions, consensus transactions. And if that use case comes online, which it's supposed to in the next couple of weeks, that's going to definitely draw some eyeballs. And this network is designed to be run at tens of thousands of transactions per second. And the other example is the Visa network, right? Runs at about, I'd say, what is it, like 10 to 70,000 transactions per second. The per transaction, the Hedera network is 74 times more power efficient, carbon friendly than the Visa network. So there still is room to improve with even some of these traditional centralized systems. So there's so many value propositions and so many enterprises building on the network. I think that we've already seen those things happen on the network to cause this. And I think that what we're waiting on right now is just general market sentiment and just folks from other networks trying out what we have. Try making a swap on a DEX like Saucer Swap, try buying an NFT on a marketplace like Zeus Market, and kind of just see how fast it is. There's no gas. It's ABFT, so it's incredibly secure, 3 seconds to finality. So just feeling those things, I think that definitely, we're going to see some interesting things happen soon.
Wow, we have been at this over an hour already. Adam, what's going on?
So
We should probably wrap this up here. God, these HBAR guys,
No,
we could have these conversations for days. This hour went by so fast. Like, what the hell? I still want to go. I want to know more.
There's so much to know about this, Shane. Like, Brennan, I want to thank you so much. I would love to have you back on this question. Like, you obviously have a lot of knowledge in this, Shane, and I want to thank the entire HBAR community and all of you just showing up and listening to this. It's amazing. We're definitely going to keep doing these HBAR Fridays. I have a list of like 10 projects I want to invite for the HBAR project, the HBAR Fridays. We'll try to get through them one by one. I know we started questioning you, Hangry, and this was actually meant for you. I want to ask you, like, did you get enough time before we go to Tony? Did you get enough time to share what you wanted to share today, or is there anything else you wanted to share today?
Oh, I appreciate that. I think in general, I'm one of many good projects on the network, and I come from the artist perspective, and I'm surrounded by great artists and developers, and so this conversation is important, and I'm glad you guys are going to continue this on Fridays, because what you'll see is like a lot of the same faces showing up because we've been here for a long time, and that's something I'm excited about.
Yes, please come back, all of you. Like, this is great. This is how we all learn, and we put this out on as many platforms as we can to teach everybody everything you guys are telling us, to get it out there for everybody else. So we definitely have to keep these HBAR projects. God, man, an hour and a half already. This is amazing. Thank you, guys.
Tony, did you have anything last you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Brandon, is HBAR DGen friendly? I opened my first HBAR wallet last 2 weeks ago, and I was welcomed very well. I enjoyed it, and I went to Zeus, and I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. It's just this token association before anything can proceed. I love it. It literally sounds like a ledger. Like HBAR sounds like a ledger. Like, I've got to accept the token to come to my wallet before it comes to my wallet. That's like, I can't get dumped on. But it limits a lot of ingenuity. For example, we've got a project on Solana now, which is talking about you can create brains using the rug NFTs that you're sent to your wallet, and these brains are like they're worth like 0.5, 0.6 or something. But it's like, I know you've invented a solution for a problem that shouldn't exist, but there's so many more aspects that come with having an open wallet. I'm not sure if you saw what Vitalik was saying the other day. He's a man who's inundated with 1 billion tokens a day, and he was just trying to come up with a solution of how best these tokens can be used, how best people can send him things and not waste money, because he's as much as receiving rugs, he's also receiving genuine money, like tokens that mint and as a homage or some kind of publicity stamps. They drop in maybe 30, 40K US dollars. and he just says, hey, I want to donate this to charity. But that wouldn't be possible if his wallet was locked. And there's been loads of projects where the LP's just dropped and the token is dropped, and you got to get in there fast, So is it degen friendly? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I'll mint anything, but if I've got to associate the code and then I got to look for the kind of takes the sting out of it. You think?
Oh, I'm really happy that you brought this up because I'll just quickly touch on two things. So you're correct. It's really important that we have that associate feature and that kind of level of consent on the network. So you can't receive things to your wallet that you don't want to receive, which is really important. If you look at, for example, companies like Ubisoft or LG or Boeing or IBM that are, on the governing council for Hedera, if they're operating a use case where they need to utilize a wallet, like for example with LG with their new Art Labs NFTs tying into their NFTs that are minted on Hedera, an enterprise definitely doesn't want to receive things that they don't consent to in their wallet. It may actually cause them to break the law, all sorts of different things like that. But yeah, Hedera is super degen friendly. And in fact, if you go to your Hashpack and you go to the settings for your account, you can open what are called auto associate slots. So you can tell the network, I want to open up, let's say 5 or 500 auto associate slots to my wallet that would just allow up to that amount I specified to just be thrown in my wallet. But a middle ground to that is if you're on a DEX, like let's say Saucer Swap, some of the features facilitated by a technology called Hash Connect from Hashpack that allows some of these dApps to communicate handle a lot of that for you through the user interface of just turning things into a little button click. It makes it easy. And there's also a dApp browser right inside of Hashpack. So is Hedera degen friendly? Absolutely. You can go completely nuts on the network. There's all sorts of different wacky coins you can trade on dexes and all those types of things. But also, is it super safe and enterprise grade? Yes, as well. And you have the control to decide how you want to experience the network.
Random, I'm gonna send you a DM and we can get this an entire episode of just you and some of the smart people in here, like Tony.
No, there's more. There's more smarter people than me, but I'm just I do
Mitchell
the news,
as well.
so I'm
Like,
up to date on it.
Mitchell, I
Hey
would love
guys,
to
yeah,
have you.
I thought I rugged, man. I didn't hear anybody. So I pulled myself out of the room and came back in. I just got the last wind of what you guys were saying. Brandon, you could talk a little bit about Hashport. I mean, there's 31 coins there, more than half. I wish they were in the space so they could explain it, how you could wrap it and bounce it back and forth between, let's say, Avalanche. If you have a product that's Avalanche, you want to bring it over to Hedera, you could wrap it. And they're also having the NFTs where you could have Avalanche NFT, wrap it with the HBAR and have it in your wallet. They're working on that right now, and that's 31 coins. So that shows you Hedera is willing and pushing forward the cross chain aspect.
We're just about to wrap this up, Mitchell. But I promise you, we're gonna make an episode where we talk, you guys, just in depth, dive into everything that's going on HBAR and all the technicals, and Tony as well. I'd love to have you on to question these guys more.
Everybody, bring all of those people, bring all those coins you were talking about. Let's get all the brains together and learning shit together. I love it.
Thanks everyone so much for coming on. We have 47 people in here. Love every single one of you. And Hangry Barboons for taking the time to come here, bring the HBAR community with you, and get these good conversations going. I feel like we learn something every single day. We have these HBAR Fridays. So thanks
every time,
so
man.
much.
Every time. I love it.
If anyone missed anything and wondering what the heck we were talking about, we started talking some Hangry Barboons and we got into the chain and everything going on. We're also on all these streaming platforms, so this episode will be on there as well. You can check out all the other things we do Monday to Friday. Make sure you follow Hangry Barboons and the amazing speakers up here if you like HBAR. If you'd like to listen to us ramble on to projects, make sure you follow the pod. That's where we're at. And of course, your lovely neighbors in this space right now. We're also sponsored by Hyperlaunch Live, who is building a permissionless launchpad where anyone can launch your NFT collection without writing a single line of code. And it's coming to HBAR very soon. So looking forward to that. Once again, we have broken the barrier between HBAR community and the Solana and ETH community. I love it. Sarah, what's up?
Just wanted to add to the end, but absolutely love another successful HBAR space. Mitchell and Brandon are extremely intelligent people, and I'm so happy that they were here to spread that knowledge to everybody. But love these spaces. Excited for every Friday to be in the pod.
Love it, Sarah. Thank you so much for coming on as well. The person that told us about HBAR a long time ago, and now finally we're getting integrated for real. Thank you, Sarah. Amazing, guys. Let's wrap it up. Until next time. We're back on Monday, by the way. So take care this weekend. And let's hear what the outro has to offer for us tonight. Bye, guys.
We better hear you sing a little bit, Adam.
We don't care who. This is the one word. So what we get drunk, so what we smoke weed. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what we go out.
outro has to offer for us tonight. Bye, guys.
We better hear you sing a little bit, Adam.
We don't care who. This is one word. So what we get drunk, so what we smoke weed. We're just having fun. We don't care who sees. So what we go out.
Waking up in the morning, gotta be fresh, gotta go downstairs, gotta have my bowl, gotta have cereal, seeing everything, the time is going, ticking on and on, everybody's rushing, gotta get down to the bus stop, gotta catch my bus, I see my friends, kicking in the front seat, sitting in the back seat, gotta make my mind up, which seat can I take? Let's go! It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend. Partying, fun. Looking forward to the weekend.